we would like to welcome Susan. Susan DSilva is a seasoned HR professional with nearly 30 years of corporate experience. She's passionate about enabling the startup ecosystem. She co founded HR Upstart to help entrepreneurs avoid costly HR mistakes and focus on scaling their business. She has completed her post graduation in law degree from Bangalore University, and she would be taking you all through HR as a career path. So I welcome you, Susan. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
time.
you. Thank you, Sheetal. Thank you for having me here. And thank you to all the students who've joined. It shows that you guys are really keen on making a career, right? I'm going to start with a small joke. Okay, I was reading this on LinkedIn. They said that this person had put up why HR is the worst function in the company, and everybody, I'm sure you must have heard from your friends and people who are working, your relatives and all that, about how bad HR is, right? But this person went on to say about how bad it is. It was in a sort of like a satire kind of a thing he had put it. So he was like, it's the worst thing, because the first thing you do is, first person you meet in a company is the HR, because he has reviewed your resume. That time, suddenly you're thinking that this person is good because you want him to review your resume and call you for the interview. Then the interview is done and you're waiting for those people to give you an offer letter, and the HR is your best person. You're going running behind them, trying to negotiate your offer, and you're telling them, I want this much, and you're requesting the HR person to go and speak on your behalf. You get the offer letter, the first person you meet in the company is your HR person. So they must be bad, they're in your face all the time, kind of thing. And then every time your performance appraisal happens, when you want a higher performance appraisal, I mean, you want a better rating or you want a better salary hike, you're reaching out to this HR person. They obviously have too much power. And in the end, when you're leaving the company, again, you're running behind these people saying that, give me my full and final settlement, give me my experience letters. When you join a new company, again, you're running to these people saying that, give me a good background verification, because otherwise they won't hire me and all that. So, despite it being that function which has such a bad name, it's actually one of the functions that has the maximum amount of touch points with an employee in an organization. And like this person was saying, HR has a great amount of power within the organization. And to me, when people ask me about what is it that you do in HR and why is it so specialized, I keep telling them that it's nothing but common sense. HR is nothing but common sense. If your common sense is proper, your HR is proper. You're going to be doing the you're going to be doing the right thing, because most of what happens in HR is on the basis of good common sense, good logic, good reasoning. So, what do you think, are the things that you would require if you wanted to look at a career in HR? How many of you are really interested in a career in HR to start with? I know there are about 17 people here. Let me see a show of hands. Wow, Akash, Kamakshi, fantastic. Girish, fantastic. Very good, Deepu. So I can see a good number of people, wanting to have HR as a career. It's a fantastic route to choose, because when you look at this as a career, you're not only, your every day is different. You don't fall into that rut of the routine. You're not doing something that is repetitive. Your every day is not transactional, and it's not the same thing again and again. Every single day brings you new challenges, new things to do, new things to look forward to. And one of the main things that you need in HR is that you need to be a people's person. People's person is nothing different from what most of us are. It primarily means that you need to be somebody who loves people, who loves getting to know people, who likes friends, who likes to be amongst people, understand their problems, probably help them solve those problems. Right? Kamakshi, I think you have a question, but we'll get to that in a while. Okay, I see your hand is still up. If there is no question, okay. All right, great. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide, Sheetal. So, any questions so far about anything that I've said about what you need for HR and why you need to look at it as a career option? Okay, I'm going to keep asking you all questions, okay? And you all need to interact with me because my sessions become very boring if nobody talks to me back. And I just, I feed off the energy that you guys give me. So if you are responsive, we'll have a better session. Okay, otherwise it gets boring and I will be talking, and y'all will be like, this lady has nothing better to do on a Friday evening. Okay, all right. So in HR, the things that are like we discussed just a little while back, right? So there is a the HR is the one which has the maximum number of touch points. It starts with recruitment and it ends with exit. And in between, HR is like a workforce management kind of a system that is there, where someone has raised their hand. We'll get to you in a while, dude. Sonu, give me a little time. We'll get back to you. Okay. Hold your question. Don't lose it because it's important. Okay, and HR is that one function that derive from which the organization gets its maximum productivity. Now, while I said a little while ago that you need to be a person who likes to interact with people and who likes to help people and understand their problems and help them solve the problems, you also need to be a person who is aware enough to be able to use these superpowers that you have, which are basically your interest in people and your friendliness and so on, in ensuring that you are able to drive those people to do the sort of things that you want. This is like a lot of HR is a lot of influence management, right? So you know that you have this influence over these people, you are now friendly with them, they have begun to trust you, you build trust, and then you use that to be able to guide them in the right direction. A lot of people think that those who are listening right now, one part of your brain must be saying, but isn't that so matlabi? Should I be doing something like this with my friends? But think about it, if you did not guide your friends would be lost in that organization. So a part of your job is also to ensure that your friends are also getting the best out of the organization as much as the company is getting the best out of the resources that it has. So you are going to be that person in HR who is going to be balancing these things. HR can make or break a organization. One of the most important functions, and the most overlooked function is HR, right? A lot of people think, what is there in HR? What do they do? And so many jokes. Oh God, I can't tell you the number of jokes that come up about HR. Whenever I would pick up my bag any day to leave the office by 6:30, people would come and ask me, even in half day, na? That is the way they will come and ask me. And and this used to be my daily life. And I used to wonder, you yak kansalla what I am doing, nan esto martini, they still come and ask me this question. They'll walk into that HR room where we sit and they'll be like, oh, nimge, no, you are all maja only. For y'all, you don't have to do any work. But that is one sort of it, right? So one part of it, people think that you're not doing work because what you do doesn't seem like work. And if you are in love enough with that particular job that you do, then you'll also think of it as fun. You'll be like, I my job, many people think that I have to do this for my job, but I've always thought that my job, what I do, actually gives me an opportunity to do a lot of the things that I love, because I love being with people, I love helping people. I'm one of my greatest sources of satisfaction is when somebody has a problem and I have solved it for them. I don't want to sound like some sadhu sant type of person, that I am not. But then it's so nice, someone is struggling with something and you've been able to solve it for them. And whether there is gratitude or not, that is the second part of it. Even if they don't have any gratitude, it's fine. You are deriving a personal satisfaction out of it, right? And this, with this ability, this superpower that you've been given of being able to be friendly with people, being able to influence people's judgment, their thoughts, now you have to use it for good. It's almost like being like Superman or something like that, where you're now using this to turn it towards the good of all the people, the good of the organization, the good of your own friends. And a lot of people might feel that you're actually trying to push them in a certain direction. But if it is for their good, there is no harm in it. And bottom line, always when you do an HR job, is that it has to be for the good of the organization. Okay. And that, I hope you've gotten an idea of what it entails to be an HR. Anybody has any questions? I'll take a couple of questions now.
Drakshami, please go ahead if you want to ask.
Ma'am, in that we will train in that HR, ma'am.
You will see there are some courses that are available.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you will get when you reach a HR specialization, you can do an MBA in HR. We are going to go there in a while, but I'll tell you there is an MBA in HR, and there are some other courses offered by various institutes. But you can either get trained and go, or you can go and you can start at the bottom and learn as you grow.
Ah, okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, anyone? Please raise your hands and you can ask the question.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide then. Okay, what do you think? We'll get some answers in the chat. A, B, or C. HR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್? ರಿಕ್ರೂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಸ್, ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್, ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಎಂಗೇಜ್ಡ್ ಇನ್? Which is it best for the organization? Which is most important? Yes, Bhargavi. All three of them are important. ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಒಂದ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Ma'am, please can you repeat again, ma'am?
Which is the most important aspect of HR? Recruitment, employee relations, or training? So actually, Bhargavi helidde correct, because all three of them are important in its own place. Okay, but I try to confuse her a little bit because I'm like that. I like confusing people sometimes. Okay, so but Bhargavi was right. We most important is all three of them. Recruitment has its own place, because once you have recruitment, recruitment means always the inflow of people. So it has its own value where you are able to get people in, and bringing in the right people at the right time, at the right cost. These are all very important aspects. Employee relations, because you need to be able to make sure that everybody is happy within the organization, and that they are all the work is happening properly. Not only employees happy means, doesn't mean that organization has to give like huge amount of raises, lot of benefits, lot of money. Atara alla. It has to be employee relations andre interpersonal agatte between team members. So where we are salpa whether team members are getting along with each other, manager is getting along with employees getting along with other departments. All these idikella employee relations antare. Many people think that employee relations andre ಏನೆಲ್ಲ we are making them happy andre lot of engagement activities ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, lot of ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ outings ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ಆ ತರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ employee relations ಅಂತ. But it is not actually. Employee relations andre ensuring that ಯಾವ ಟಚ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿದು ವಿತ್ ಅದರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿಗೆ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಟಚ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಡ್ಮಿನ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಟಚ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವಿದಿನ್ ಟೀಮ್ ಬೇರೆ ಟೀಮ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಟಚ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಟಚ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಶೂರ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಫ್ರೀ, ಯಾವುದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬರ್ದೇ ತರ. So now prati ಒಂದು process ಗೆ HR will get involved in processes and we will see that ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗೋ ತರ ಬರುತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ, and we will smoothen out all those problems. So every touch point of employee within the organization, whichever department it is, HR will be involved in ensuring that those touch points are friction free, smooth agi nadibeku anta. Okay, so now you have an idea of this. Training antu, training andre sumne eno on training kodo tara alla. You just don't give training for the sake of training. Adralli training andre what happens is first one need analysis agutte. You will go to the department, you will find out avrdu yen needs ide, ivaga avrdu new projects yen barta ide, adakke enadru specific agi training beka, aa training ge how do we organize that training, how many people are there within that department who need that training, trainer identify madodu. We don't have to, HR don't have to give the training. Okay, now yen martive andre we will be finding that vendor, we will go and find out yaar training kodta idare, yaru which are maybe 4-5 vendors togond bandbittu we will give it to the concerned person. They will figure out which is the correct one they want to go in for, because they will see what is the course material adu idu anta. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಜನರಲೈಸ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ದ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರವರೇ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವೇನು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್. ಅದ್ರ ನಂತರ ಅವರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನಾವು ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ರೂಮ್ ಬೇಕಾ, ಆ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಒನ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 100 people are there and all 100 cannot go into training at one time because that department will shut down for that day, right? So ಆ ತರ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. We'll have to talk to the manager, we'll have to figure out ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು, how many can you spare for the training, because managers 99% many of them ಅವ್ರದ್ದು even need ಇದ್ರೂನು ಅವ್ರು ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಸಿಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಇಸ್ 1 day ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್, ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ 1 week ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್, 15 days ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಲೂಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಅವ್ರದೇ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡೆಡ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಇವಾಗ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ HR ಜಾಬ್ ಟು ಸ್ಮೂತನ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅವರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಜಾಬ್. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಟ್ರೈನರ್, ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಕ್ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ಸ್ ದ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಎಷ್ಟು ನೀವು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ದಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್. ಅದು ನಾವು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್. ನಾವು ಇವಾಗ ಈ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು, ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ಡ್, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬಂತಾ ಅದರಿಂದ, ಆಲ್ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಜಾಬ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಅ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಸೇಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ರೀಸನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸಿ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಅದ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ತಿರ್ಗಾ HR ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀವು ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿದ್ರಿ, ಏನು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನೋ ROI ಬಂತು. ಸೊ ROI ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಆನ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Okay.
Hey Susan, please note that we have students across, I think from Delhi and all also.
Oh,
so
okay,
make sure that you keep your English a bit more.
Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry. I thought we were all here from Karnataka.
No, so I have got few people.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Who doesn't understand English? Sorry, Kannada. I'm sorry, Kamakshi. I'm sorry. I will keep it more in English. Okay. ROI means Saumya Gowda andre you should be knowing Kannada pa. I don't think you should put up your hand. Okay.
No, I think she's asking a question maybe.
Oh,
Soumya,
you
have
are.
a question?
Soumya, you have a question? Shivam, is this for Hindi or a specific question? Okay, those who have questions can go ahead and ask right now.
Okay, Soumya didn't have a question. Drakshani, you want to ask a question? Okay, even
Okay. All right. So I'll keep it primarily in English. If anybody didn't understand the English very clearly, you please get in touch with me separately through Sheetal, and I will explain it to you in the language of your choice. Okay. Though I don't know all languages. In Kannada, Hindi is still manageable. Okay. All right. We go to the next slide, Sheetal. Okay, I think I just kind of explained this slide to you all and you have an idea of it. I've covered recruitment and training at least, so you know what recruitment and what training is. Compliance is, that's a specialized function within HR, which deals with not only with legal adherence, but also with things like PF, ESI, taxation. These are all, though you can put it probably in a very broad umbrella, you can call it legal, but these are the things which come under compliance. This department which deals with compliance and all that is called HR operations usually, or they will call it HR shared services, uh, because a lot of people will be involved in this particular function, right? In within HR, you will have these different departments that come in. Compliance is one department also that comes in under HR. And of course, conflict resolution, I think it's very clear what you need to do. Here, one of the important things that comes in when you're considering this as a career is to develop your mindset to be very neutral in a lot of things, right? Oftentimes, when HR people, when we get into an organization, we have to, many times we have to forget that we are employee, right? We have to behave like a part of the organization itself. We uh, cannot behave for any part like an employee. Like if there is a policy which has to come in which may not be very employee friendly, you know that, because of this policy there will be some amount of dissatisfaction, or that it may affect you only. So those sort of, suppose there is some particular allowance that is being given and you are partaking in that allowance, and tomorrow that allowance, you know that this is going to go. But the challenge in these places, and which calls on special skills from HR at this time, is to keep yourself neutral, to be very, not to look at yourself as an employee, but to look at yourself as an instrument that the company is using to do a policy which is beneficial for the organization. By and large, most organizations will bring out policies which are beneficial to themselves. Um, so in whatever way, it is still beneficial to the company. Very few organizations will try to actually bring out a policy which is bad for the employee in one way or the other, right? So their objective mostly is not to do any damage to the employee, but at the same time, the policy will be beneficial to the company, because the company is in the business of doing business, right? They are there to earn money, and HR's job is to support them, to ensure that the people and the business are, they are matching like this, that they are working seamlessly, and we are able to get them to work in a seamless manner without there being any sort of problems in it. And that's where a lot of conflict resolution comes in. And when you have to do any sort of conflict resolution, you have to be able to take yourself out of that equation. So that is where I'm saying that you need to be neutral in most of these things. So either you cannot put yourself completely on management side, you cannot put yourself completely on employee side. You have to strike that balance where you remain neutral in these things, right? Compensation and benefits is another area of HR where you have to, this is a very maths heavy part of HR, right? Most of HR, like, I mean, for the most part, all HR people live on Excel, okay? So if you decide that you want a career in HR, make friends with Excel first only. But compensation and benefits, there is a lot of math work. So because there'll be a lot of calculations to be done, especially when you're looking at benefits, when you're looking at salaries, salary structures, the team that takes up compensation and benefits, that go into compensation and benefits, should also know have a good handle on the current taxation laws. All those sort of things also you should be able to understand and be able to do all those things, right? Any questions so far?
Susan, Drakshani has written, ma'am, in that we have to balance both the sides. I think she was talking with
Yeah,
respect to conflict resolution.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Drakshani. You have to balance both the sides. You cannot, you have to think of, like, you are not a part of that discussion at all. Okay. Very often, I have seen in my career, a lot of HR people, me included, many times I have made the mistake where I will take a side because we are human, right? So we tend to take a side because, you know, somebody's story sounded a little more sad than something else, right? So you take a side, but it is very important to, at all times, to keep yourself out of that conflict, right? Even to the extent of being without emotion, without empathy on that. Because the minute you allow your own thoughts and feelings to come into it, then you start to take a side, and that is not fair to the organization. In either way, even if you take organization side, you are there so that you are able to talk on behalf of the employee and the organization. So you have to keep remembering that you have to be neutral. It's a difficult job. It sounds easy, but it's very difficult because at the end of it, we are all human. We are all influenced by somebody or the other. If my best friend has a problem with the organization, I will tend to side with my best friend. And I've seen a lot of HR people, they actually stumble at this point. They have a difficulty because you are unable to choose that. Okay, we can move on to the next slide. I think we are almost done, right? Okay. So someone had asked me a question earlier on what you need to study. So you can, you can start HR at any point. You can start even after your 12th standard. After your second PUC, you can get into a company, start off in a recruitment job, which requires no skills other than being able to make calls and match the, pick up the job description and match it to what the person has written in his resume. You should be able to read that job description and match it. So it's all, that's the basic skill that you require to get into HR. Okay, it doesn't require, but from here the trajectory is slow. Okay, you'll climb slowly up the ladder. The trajectory is not very fast from this, obviously, because you have joined soon after school. If you have a need, there are companies that take you. Even at this stage, they take you, especially if you've completed 18 years of age. You are open to be employed in any organization. Before 18 in India, we are not allowed to employ people in any specialized function. You cannot draw a salary from a company. Those are some employment laws in India, right? You can also, if you've done your graduation, there are various fields from which you can move into HR, right? You can go from arts, you can go from commerce, you can go from psychology, you can go from law, you can go, any one of these is a path to going into HR. From here, you start at a slightly higher position than you start if you join soon after your 12th standard. Okay, so you can get in, and after your if you start after your 12th standard or your second PUC, if you start, you can expect, in today's market where the market is right now, you can expect around 12 to 15,000 rupees as a salary. Monthly salary will be around that much, because you're literally your unskilled labor at that point, right? If you start after a bachelor's degree, if you have done your graduation and then you start, you can look for a salary of around 25,000 rupees in this situation, right? And like I said, even I have seen people who have come from science background. I have seen people who have come after engineering, and I've seen people who have even come after doing what is that course called? Yeah. Oh, This is slipping my mind. uh, in Chitrakala Parishad, fine arts course. The fine arts course where they have gone and learned how to, art appreciation classes and all those sort of things. I've seen people come from those courses also and still make their career in HR, right? If you suppose you decide, okay, after graduation, I still want to go and do my MBA. MBA, you will have a specialization at that time. You can take up HR as a specialization, right? That is the only time that HR comes in any sort of a college course, which is in your MBA. And they'll teach you a whole lot of things. A lot of that you'll get to apply also in your job. And sometimes a lot of it you won't get to apply also, right? Somebody has a question.
Yeah, Asghar has a question. Asghar, go ahead and ask the question.
Okay.
No,
There
ma'am,
was a
mistake
fault.
list touch.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So after that, if you go to an MBA and you do an MBA and then you get into HR, here you can expect a salary of roughly between 25 to 35,000, depending on the company that you join. You can get a starter salary of about that much, right? I'm talking today's market conditions. In a few years, it will be different, right? These are just indicational things. Now, if you decide, along with this MBA or along with your bachelor's degree, you want to do some of the certifications, there are some certifications which are internationally recognized. In India, as such, I think other than there is one degree which is on personal management, diploma in personal management. That is the only other additional degree that used to be recognized some time ago, but that is the course content on that has become very outdated. It was made more for it was made more in terms of your industrial relations and factory management and all those, right? Drakshayani has a question.
Okay, I think we have
Drakshayani?
two questions. Drakshani, you want to go ahead and ask the question?
Yeah, ma'am. In diploma, high school diploma, ma'am said, na ma'am. In that, we can continue to the HR like that, ma'am.
Yes, yes. I know one of my very good friends. He joined like this. He joined soon after his 12th standard because he was coming from a background where he did not have enough money at that point for his family to put him for even for graduation degree. He did not have enough money, and he had to start earning very soon. So he joined like that. Today he is, in a company that employs about 7,000 people. He is the director of HR there. So during that time, but it has taken long time. He did not do it overnight. It has taken him almost 18, 19 years from the time he joined, but he stayed with the same company. During this time, the company itself, because he was working so well and he worked so hard, the company sponsored his, graduation. They also sponsored his MBA. In fact, they gave him, they posted him to US, and he did his masters in the US actually. So it depends on how you work, but the key bottom thing in all this is you have to work very hard. If you work very hard, if you work with a passion towards your job, you will see growth in any field. I think Akash Shukla has a question. I see.
Yeah,
something
Akash,
in
do
it.
you want to ask the question? Okay, looks like he has left, but I'll tell you his question. He's in
Yeah, I can see.
SIMBM Bangalore,
Yeah, I can
MBA.
see his
Yeah.
question, Sheetal. So, in case he's going to catch up on the recording, let me just take that the thing. So, every field of education trains your brain in a different way and in a way to address problems. Being an electrical engineer or an engineer trains your brain to work in a more analytical way. And there are lots of fields in HR which require you to be very analytical. One of my ex bosses that I used to work with had done his engineering from an IIT. Okay, he was an IIT engineer, and he left that and came into HR because he was very passionate about the people function. And so, just to answer your question, it is possible. You can do it. There will not be a problem if you switch. You just need to know how to explain it when you go for the interview. All right. So we'll go on to the. Any other questions are there? Anybody else wants to ask questions?
No, not at this moment. Let's go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay, which skill do you think is the most important? Now, this time, Bhargavi, you don't say that everything is important. Pick one, okay? Communication, negotiation, or analytical skills.
Yeah, right answer is ABC in the chat box. Others, please quickly key in something.
All these people know come in from school, Sheetal, I don't think they've eaten anything. All very tired people we have today.
Yeah. Quick, guys, can you at least 2-3 more people can answer, and then we will take it forward. Okay, I think this is it. Let's.
Yeah, so the correct answer is A, because in this, the most important thing that you need to have in a HR person is the ability to communicate, because your whole job depends on what you are told and how you pass that information on to the other side of the public. How you take that information from the employee and take it back to the management. So your communication, your ability to whatever you want to say, how you are able to say it in the best possible manner so that everybody is able to understand it, right? So that is what is communication. Communication is not fantastic English, though English is very helpful. And one of the easiest ways for you to build your English speaking skills, to get confidence in talking English, is to be able to pick up any book or any paper, anything that has anything written in English, and to read it loudly. Get in a room, close the door, and pick up a book and read it loudly, loudly. Read the same page 3 times, 4 times. First time, you will struggle a little bit on how it sounds. Second time, think about, if I was some particular actor, how would that person be reading this particular line in this book? If it is, it can be your teacher. You like a teacher, you can pick it up and try to imitate your teacher while reading that book, right? That is one of the most simple, most effective way of building your confidence in talking English. The minute, because what it does is it helps you to listen to your own voice in English. The reason you are not able to communicate very well in English sometimes is because it's a foreign language. All said and done, it's a foreign language. So it sounds strange to your ears when suddenly you are talking in English. Otherwise, normally you're talking in your mother tongue, or the local language of the state. You're talking in that with your friends. But the minute you are able to hear yourself talking in English frequently, it will make the confidence will increase. The second thing I can tell you is, this trick actually helped me to improve my Hindi. Okay, my Hindi, because I'm South Indian, sounded like, it sounded South Indian. I often say that, my Hindi used to sound like Mahmood talking at his worst possible moments. But this trick helped me really to help me to get over that feeling of how I sound. And this was to train my brain to think in Hindi, right? So every time I thought something to myself, I translated it in my brain into Hindi. And over a period of time, I got comfortable thinking in Hindi. So therefore, when I needed to speak in Hindi, it just came out very easily. Right? So, and these are some of these things are continuous skills. It's not only for one day. You just don't do it one day and then give up. You continue to do it so that you get the habit of it. Drakshayani, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ma'am, in communication in English is easy, no, ma'am. In that we can communication in other languages also. It's okay, no, ma'am.
Meaning, like, is it okay to communicate in other languages in the office?
Ha, ma'am.
Yeah, you can. See, there is no hard and fast rule that says that you have to communicate all the time only in English.
Yeah,
But
ma'am.
yeah, but if you want to get to a better position, then you will be competing with a person who is talking better English than you.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, then it makes sense for you to make that effort to learn that English and to be able to talk well and to communicate properly, because then you are on even playing field. And if
Yeah,
you're not, anything, see, anything that you don't that is not on par with whatever is the job description that is there, right? Now, if everybody is doing one thing and you're not doing, you'll land up with a complex for yourself, right? It will, that itself is a self-defeating belief for you. You will start feeling that, okay, I don't know English, so I can't do that. Oh, I don't know English, so I can't go and give this presentation. I don't know English, so I cannot talk to this particular manager or this particular person because they always talk in English. So try
yeah.
and, yeah, try and get rid of all these things. And English is not difficult.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. But in if we can talk in English, but sometimes it's difficult, no, ma'am. If we are presenting some project or like we are communicating with employees or like that friends, it's difficult, no, ma'am.
It is.
Sometimes,
It is.
sometimes yes, ma'am. Sometimes it
Definitely,
is
it is
easy.
difficult. Who said anything is easy, Drakshani?
No, ma'am. In that we are we want practice, no, ma'am. In that.
That is why I said no. You go to a room, you take a
Yeah,
book, and you read loudly.
yeah,
Okay,
ma'am.
any English book, it doesn't matter. It can be your textbook, it can be newspaper, it can be a receipt from a shop. Anything, anything that you find written in English, you take it and read it loudly. Okay,
Yeah,
loudly. Not to read it to yourself. You should be able to hear your voice.
yeah,
Okay,
ma'am.
what you are reading, you should be able to hear, because only when you are able to hear what you are reading, you will start improving that, how you talk. You will,
Yeah, ma'am.
yeah, when you read something, you'll automatically like, oh, this is how it is
It's
written, this is how I need to say this sentence. Right now,
yeah,
see,
ma'am.
there is a sentence written here: what skill do you consider most important for human resources professionals? Now, this same thing, if I tell you read and close your eyes and tell me, you will not be able to tell it as clearly as it is written, right? But when you practice 10 times to read this sentence loudly, you will be
I
able to
can
tell the
easily
sentence.
say, ma'am, that if I
Yeah,
read 10 timesly, it makes easy to read and it makes to say again and again. Yeah, ma'am,
yeah.
I get it. Thank you,
You
ma'am.
got my point, right? Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these are the skills, like we said, communication is on the top. Communication is the most important thing for an HR professional. Negotiation skills are important. Analytical skills are also important. I won't say this is more important, that is more important, but both these are important, because negotiation, oftentimes you will land up negotiating a lot of things with a lot of people, which is why one of the first things I spoke to you about was on building influence with people, trust, influence. This is where negotiation skills comes into play. You will be able to easily be able to negotiate with people where you have an influence, where they are already believing you and they trust you, right? Analytical skills will help you in analyzing various amounts of data, or even in a particular situation you will be able to analyze, how do I handle this better? Now I know three things are there in this. How do I pick up from this what is relevant for me and be able to tell the correct information, either in a presentation or in a meeting or a report, or just in a conversation also, right? HR technologies are important, but most organizations have different technologies. Don't break your head in learning different tools that are available in the market. If somebody tells you go for a SAP course, or go for go learn Zoho, or nowadays in India, Darwin Box is a very popular tool that is there. There are many such tools that are there, Workday, all these things. Don't spend your time going and learning those, but understand what each of those tools do. For that, you don't need anything more than your phone and YouTube, right? Go figure out which are the HR technologies that are there. Go to their demo on YouTube and watch it. That's all you need. So once you get to understand, if you're going somewhere for an interview, for example, know what sort of tool they are using in that company. Go to YouTube, watch that 15-20 minutes video, understand what they are telling in that. You have a background. When you go to the interview, you will be able to say that, I know something about this particular tool, I not worked on it. They'll teach you all these things in the office. But your other tools, like your Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. Nowadays, Google Workspace is very popular in a lot of the companies because it is cheaper than Microsoft. So everybody is taking Google Workspace. So Google Sheets, Google Slides, all these, you need to be very comfortable with all those, right? And when I say comfortable, it's not only to know open type something. You should know which are the functions in it, what go into one level of depth in it, so that you are able to simplify your work, right? This is a important part, where at least all these basic technologies, which are pretty common, you need to be your level of comfort in it should be more better than proficient. It's just not I know. It should be that I can operate this and I can effectively operate it. Another keyword these days that is going around a lot, and for good reason, is diversity, right? I'm going to very briefly give you 2 or 3 sentences on diversity, but it's a huge topic and you should actually get into it and study it more and learn it better. Diversity is being able to include people of all sorts within the organization. If I think most of you are too young to know, but there was a time when, mostly in the offices, you would see only men, women were not included. One level of inclusivity came in when they said, okay, we'll bring in women. But if you go to most offices, you will find that you will not see a lot of people who may be differently abled, people with disabilities, right? So you may not see a lot of people in the office who are people with disabilities. Again, in certain cultures, not so much in India, but in Western cultures, for example, the African Americans or people of African descent are not encouraged in certain professions, right? Because they just felt that those people cannot be trusted. So you would see like people, it was, if it was like law enforcement, you won't see people of African descent there. If it was anything to do with financial institutions, they wouldn't take people. So now, thanks to inclusivity and diversity hiring coming in, they are trying to make a space for people with different abilities and different capabilities to come in into the workspace. It doesn't mean that you take a person who cannot see and give him a job in a computer which requires him to see all the time. It just means that if there are jobs available which can be done by this person who cannot see, that we should be open to hiring such a person, right? So a lot of work is going in today into making organizations very diverse. Diversity is anybody who has not been given the chance, right? So we are trying to open the doors and make sure that everybody who hereto before was not able to come into office for one reason or the other, that these people are now being given a chance. And people, there are a lot of companies actively hiring only for these positions, right? So even be it your LGBT kind of people, or be it people of a particular race or a particular stature of society, or people of particular gender, or transgender people also for that matter. There are a lot of efforts happening. Keep yourself updated on this because it's a very hot topic today. And the more you have learned about this topic and you're able to talk, this gives you an advantage in today's market, right? I think we are done, Sheetal, with all the slides. Yep, we are done. Now, tell me, guys, what other questions are there? There are people who have not asked questions, and I think now is the time for you all to ask whatever you want.
So I would suggest, I request each one of you, just think through quickly. And if you have any doubts or questions, Susan is here to clarify you. This is a good opportunity. You can ask any specific question. Otherwise, it will never be answered to this detail, which Susan can give you at this moment. So take a minute and think about it and ask a question if you want. Very interesting question, Susan. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So HR only recruits the HR. So we recruit HR also. So it's in the team we recruit the HR also. So our job is to recruit for all functions. So we recruit for HR as well. Interestingly, in large organizations, you will have an HR for HR. So in small organizations, they don't do that. But when you have an HR team, which is like over 8-10 people, there will be one person from the team who is designated to be the HR for the HR.
And others, please make sure that you have filled the form that we have given you.
Yeah, Deepu, go ahead.
You can ask a question, Deepu.
Anything else follow up on this question, Deepu?
You have to unmute yourself, Deepu, in case you want to ask the question. Otherwise, we are good. Any other question by anyone? Yeah.
Every organization, there is always space to make mistakes.
Yes.
Everywhere there is space to make mistakes, so long as you don't repeat the mistakes. And the mistakes can be made if it's a genuine mistake, if it's an oversight, if genuinely there is a mistake. Sometimes you're not allowed to make mistakes which come out of stupidity, right? So people will be critical of you if you make stupid mistakes, but oversights, mistakes always happen every day for everyone. Yes, Drakshini, go ahead.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇನ್ ನೆಗೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಇಫ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಿರಾ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್?
ಅದು ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಅನ್ಫೇರ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಸಿಗ್ಬೋದು ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಣಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಸಪೋಸ್ ನಾವು ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ದು ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇತ್ತು, ನಾವು ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಮು, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ನಾವು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟೇ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಜೆನ್ಯೂನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಓವರ್ಲುಕ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ಅವರು ಆ ತರ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಇದ್ದವರು ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಡಿಮೋಟಿವೇಟೆಡ್, ದೇ ಮೇ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್. ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈವನ್ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಟ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್, ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ರೆಸಿಗ್ನೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ರೆಸಿಗ್ನೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಅನ್ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಬಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೀವಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್.
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಸೊ ಯು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಮೋಟಿವೇಟೆಡ್, ನೀನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಲೈಕ್, ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಬಂದು ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಪುಟ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಡೌನ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ನಾವು ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್.
ಯಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಅದ್ ಎರಡನ್ನು ಒಂದನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಒಂದನ್ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿನ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಎರಡನ್ನು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೋದ್ರೆ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಡಿಮೋಟಿವೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಕೂಡ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತನಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್?
ಹೌದು. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ ದಿನ ಅಂತಾನು ಅಲ್ಲ ದಾಕ್ಷಾಯಿನಿ, ಅದು ಪ್ರತಿ ನಮ್ದು ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಲ್ದೆ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ದು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುವಾಗ, ದಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಹೆಡ್. ನಾನ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲ್. ನನ್ಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆನೂ ಮಾತಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಆ ಕಡೆನೂ ಮಾತಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Okay. Bhargavi, you can get into internships by applying to organizations, as an intern. You can see which are your target organizations, make a profile in LinkedIn, see which are the companies, approach the people directly from the company. You will not get a position which will be advertised for an intern usually. Intern position usually comes on referral. So you can, suppose you want to, for example, you want to join Accenture as an intern, you can go find people who is from Accenture HR department, send them a message on LinkedIn telling them that you are interested in doing an internship with them. Free interns, everybody will take. If you if without experience you expect money first internship, I always recommend go do free, because you will get something more valuable than money, which will be experience. Second internship, you should be able to start earning money. Yes, Deepu, after recruitment of the candidate, HR is responsible for their performance in office, from the sense that you will be working with their managers to ensure that the performance is there. It is not sole responsibility of HR, sole responsibility of manager, but you will assist the manager in ensuring that that person is giving the correct performance. How will you do that? By setting KRAs, KPIs, etc. for these people. Okay, any other questions?
Look like I think we are done in that case.
Okay, all right, great. Thanks, guys. Thanks to the ones who asked questions. I hope you all
There is one
enjoyed.
more question Susan has
Oh,
come in.
one.
Bhargavi, I think, has asked.
Bhargavi, what are some basic hard skills? I'm not sure what you mean by hard skills. Do you mean like where you have to take difficult calls?
Bhargavi, can you unmute yourself and ask the question, or quickly chat in the type in the chat box?
Yeah, I was trying to ask if we need any sheets or anything, Excel sheets, something you said. Yeah, how do we?
Excel is non-negotiable. If you're a HR person, you will live in Excel. All your work will be done in Excel, 99%, because you will be maintaining all the employees' data, their salary, payroll information, leave information, everything will be on Excel. Best way to learn Excel is to take any of the free courses that are available on YouTube. If you want, you can sign up for some courses on Udemy or something, but I see most of the skills that is required is available on YouTube. So I really don't recommend spending on it.
Okay, ma'am, sure. Thank you.
I think I'll add to this, as Susan has said, anybody who is thinking of working with organizations in management positions going forward, Excel is the most important tool. Please make sure that you are learning it. Spending, and as Susan has said, YouTube is a beautiful, kind of a repository of where you will find the right courses for yourself without paying a penny. So please make sure you're utilizing it. I think let me take a minute to say thank you so much, Susan. This was really helpful. The way you have, kind of explained everything so deeply, along with that, maintaining both Kannada and English, and that is, thank you so much. I think we really got a very, very in-depth understanding of HR as a career. Myself, despite being a career counselor, I must say that I got to understand it even deeply, working in organizations. Despite that, I must say that. So thank you so much for your time, and
thank you
really
for having me,
appreciate it.
Sheetal. Thank you. And I wish all the learners, good, happy learning, and do pick a right career. A career makes a very big difference in your life. Pick it and stick with it, whichever you pick. All right. Thank you so much.